All right, welcome to another edition of our PSU Presser. Cory, Geiger, Neil, Rudel just got finished with Tom Bradley's press conference. There's still a lot of interesting things going on with the program. People wanting to look forward to Wisconsin. And we'll start with football and get to maybe some of the heavier stuff first. But clearly a huge game. They're big underdogs. And the players and Tom Bradley all said, they don't look at those kinds of things.
Well, right. I mean, they've kind of been against the odds for sure for the last month, and it's been a team that's won all their close games. They're not a darling as far as being a big heavy favorite against anybody. I mean, for a while they kept both teams in the game, but they've really shown a lot of poise. I thought it would be a little closer, maybe 10, 9-point underdog, but it broke at about 15 or 16.
Yeah, I thought 13-4. I mean, this is a good Wisconsin offense, and we'll get your score in just a little bit, but this Wisconsin offense, Russell Wilson, 26 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, completes 74%. Monty Ball's got almost 1,500 yards and 25 touchdowns. This is the best offense they faced. Alabama was the best team, but Alabama didn't have the dual running back quarterback situation that Wisconsin has.
Yeah, I agree with that, although Wisconsin's defense has been kind of vulnerable at times. I think it is an intriguing matchup. Games can get away from you up there. It's a tough place to play. It's loud. It is Thanksgiving break, so you don't know how that'll play with the students if they'll all be there. But both teams, this has been a neat series because both of them have won on the other guy's field. And, I think it's been a pretty good, not necessarily a rivalry, but a good series.
Let's go ahead and do the score right now. I've got 30-16 Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin's going to be able to score some points. What do you got?
I don't understand how you told me 27-16, and then next day it changed.
31-6. I can have some flexibility.
Yeah, okay, yeah, before you publicly declare.
30-16.
I said that, oh, now you're changing it again.
That's what I just said, 30-16.
Okay, well, you sent me a 31-16. You're confusing me. 23-17, I pegged. Only because I think this team has played with a lot of character. I don't know that it's going to get into a shootout, so I figure if it's going to be a close game, it's going to be a little more low scoring.
Tom Bradley did say today that he does want the full-time Penn State job, the permanent job, and that's good to hear. I'm sure a lot of people will want to hear that. Tom's been loyal to the program. Will Tom Bradley be a candidate, a realistic candidate for the job, given the fact that many people around the country think that Penn State should clean house?
I don't know. I don't know how they're going to approach that. I mean, are they going to tell him that right from the start, or are they going to march through an interview process? I think they at least owe him, if he's not going to be a candidate, to let him know that right up front. Obviously they have a huge national image problem on their hands. I think one of the real tragedies within the overall tragedy is that this guy didn't get this job 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, maybe he
Joe
is.
didn't, due respect to Joe, but he hung on so long. Tom Bradley has done a tremendous job in 2.5 weeks. I mean, communicate with everybody, the way he's handled things, the way the team has played. I think it's a shame that his window may only end up being 3 or 4 games.
I agree with all of that he's handled himself exceptionally well, but I think there's virtually no chance Tom Bradley gets this job. I think Penn State's going to want to go out and just from a PR standpoint alone and bring in somebody that is not touched at all by any of this stuff. Also, Wall Street...
You would think so, but... they've named a president from within the organization, and now they have an AD within the organization. So sure. It would not be on the realm. And plus, once you get away from your superstar candidates, I mean, obviously, if they have a Tony Dungy, a healer who would be waiting in the wings, that would be great. It doesn't look like Urban Meyer, but if he was so you take away the whole next tier of people, Tom Bradley's more qualified than all those people.
Matter.
Yeah, probably not.
If he's connected to this, sure. Maybe Tom Bradley is the best choice, but will it matter to the people making the hire? That's the question. The other major issue, USA Today and the Wall Street Journal both doing extensive stories today, looking back on Joe Paterno's handling of disciplinary problems, maybe some legal issues in the past. Both of those stories came out quoting a former person who was the head of the judicial affairs here, Vicky Tripney, I believe was her name, saying that Joe wanted to have the final say in a lot of things. She felt pressure, that the football coach wanted to have that he should have been able to make the decisions on all of these things. Neil, I don't think that makes Joe or the university look very good at all because it makes it seem like there's football is treated one way, everybody else is treated another way, and while that might be the case in a lot of programs, I think in light of all of these things, I think it makes a lot of people here look bad.
Yeah, I don't think it surprises a lot of people,
right.
though. I think, Joe, ran a kingdom, and if you read through his quotes and you listen to what he said over the years, many times he complained about the police, and he said in the old days he was able to handle those things himself, and the more the kingdom grew, the more he wanted to handle those things. I think he had difficulty accepting that, and I agree it doesn't look good, and it does lack institutional control, which is going to be the height of.
But here's the issue: if Joe wants to have all of this final say over his football program, it's his football program. Period. He's going to want to say the discipline, all these things. You cannot have it both ways. And then when you're presented with information about Jerry Sandusky, you can just kick it off to somebody else. You can't have it, but if it's your football program and you're running it, then you're in charge of the program.
Absolutely, and he's no longer. So, I mean, he's certainly paid a price. There's a 23-page presentment that could be 1,000 pages of information that was condensed down to 23 pages. So there's still a lot that will come out. Obviously, some of these things are not going to be flattering to Joe or the program.
All right, for Neil Rudel, I'm Cory Geiger. Thanks for tuning in.